Cue cards with sample answers and suggestions, followed by follow up questions with sample answers and practice questions. Question number one, the cue card number one. Speak about a person who has just moved to a new home. You should say who is this person is, who this person is, when he moved to the new home, why he decided to move homes, how did he feel about moving to the new home. One of my friends recently moved from his ancestral bungalow in the old part of city to a brand new 3 bedroom flat in a newly developed area. He had lived in the ancestral bungalow ever since he was born, and that house itself was over 60 years old. Although it was beautiful and the part of the city, the part of the old city where it was located was very quiet and peaceful. The structure was no longer sturdy. My friend and his family had started noticing signs of damage and dilapidation in the structure since a few years, and eventually they got around to consulting some engineers. The engineers advised them to vacate the old bungalow for safety reasons because the structure had become so weak it could topple at the midst of tremors. After searching high and low across different areas of the city, my friend invested in an under construction residential apartment scheme that was launched by a reputed builder in the city. He had seen a simple house before paying up, but it was going to take a few months for his new home to be ready and handed over to him. About a year ago, he took possession of a new house and became the proud owner of a beautiful big flat overlooking a public garden in a serene area surrounded by open meadows. It took him a while to organize, pack, and then to transport the contents of his ancestral bungalow to the new house. But he felt very happy about the move. In the process, he also managed to unclutter a lot. He is really pleased with the ambience and vibes of the new house and his entire family together to make the new house a home, thereby strengthening their bond. Follow up questions of cue card number one. First question is, have you ever moved homes? Yes, I have moved once from my childhood home to current apartment I live in. My childhood home was an enjoyable place, but the structure had become old and weak. It was dangerous to continue living there, and so we shifted to new home in the same locality. When we got chance, I moved homes with my entire family and we still live together. The best part is because we are in the same area as before, I get to stay in touch with all my childhood friends without any difficulty. I am also familiar with all the places around me, which makes life quite convenient. Question number two. Was it an emotional experience when you moved into a new home? It was certainly an emotional experience when I moved into a new home. I had spent my entire childhood and college days in the old house, and it felt like I was bidding goodbye to all those memories by leaving the home. I realized in the process that I had become very attached to a non living object. Even my family members felt a little sad about leaving the old house. However, moving a new home was an exciting prospect and it uplifted our spirits tremendously. Question number three. Does it help to decorate the interiors? A new home, just like an old one. For people who are very attached to their old homes, decorating the new home like the old one may help ease the stress and tension. However, I do not think this is healthy pattern to follow. One must learn to let go of old in life when something new and better enters. If we keep holding on to our past, we cannot enjoy our present to the fullest. Decorating a new house differently brings in excitement and positive energy into the lives of entire family. Question number 4. What makes a house home? The people living in the house make it a home. The emotions of those who decorate the house, plan its structure and interiors, set up the furniture, cook here, cook there, study there, and play there, infuse the house with the movement and energy. They invite life to non living structure through their laughter and tears, through their joys and sorrows, through free following, flowing conversation and shared meals. People living in a house give it a soul and make it a home. Without them, a house would simply be an empty, clinical structure. Caring for and nurturing each other in a house make it a home. Question number 5. Is it easier to move homes today than it was decade ago? Question number 5. Is it easier to move homes today than it was a decade ago? Yes, it is easier to move homes today than it was a decade ago. This is because we have large agencies today that are adept at the business of packing and moving. A decade ago, these agencies existed, but they were not as efficient or effective owing to unavailability of large vehicles and know-how. Earlier, the residents of a house had to physically pack all their belongings and get them transported to their new house personally. One would have to make many rounds in small vehicles to get the task completed. Today, movers and packers can be hired for the same. They come with enough packing material, including curtains and different sizes and large transport vehicles. They do all the packing for the customer under his supervision and even help in setting up the contents in the new house. Part number 2. Describe a situation where you need to use your imagination. You should say when you needed to use your imagination, what you accomplished by using it, how your imagination helped you. Describe a situation when you needed to use your imagination. You should say when you needed to use your imagination, what you accomplished by using it, how your imagination helped you. Were you pleased with the results of using your imagination? A few years ago, my family and I decided to move homes, and I booked a three-bedroom apartment in an upcoming scheme in a nearby locality. The exteriors of the buildings were beautiful. The exteriors of building were beautiful, but the interiors were left empty for homeowners to design as per their individual requirements. So there emerged the new for me to use my imagination. I needed to sit and what I wanted my home to look like, how I wanted the floors to be, and what kinds of fitting of wanted to use in rooms and bathrooms, where I wanted to arrange furniture, what kind of furniture I wanted to purchase. The list was endless. To be honest, I did not even know where to begin. So I started off by taking suggestions from all my family members as regards their like and dislikes. Keeping those in mind, I hired an interior designer to help me execute my project and translate my imagination to reality. I described to the designer how each room looked in my mind's eye, and he drew rough sketches as I spoke. He gave me his own inputs to each stage and especially pitched in when it came to the minute but important details, such as space utilization and ease of access around the house. Then, as I fine tuned the more detailed aspects of the home, interiors using my imagination, the designer used advanced CAD software to make my creativity come to life. I was very pleased with what I saw on his computer screen. We sat together and worked out things that needed to be changed and additions that needed to be made. The paint for every room was worked out, the sofas and beds and all the other furniture had been decided upon, and within no time, the home interiors were ready. The flat was just waiting for us to move in. The night we shifted in, I almost got no sleep because I was thrilled at how beautifully the home interiors had panned out. Based on my imagination, I realized that night how the seed of every creation lies in imagination. Every hour I had spent thinking about how I would do up my new house had been worthwhile. Follow up questions and answers. Is imagination inborn or can it be cultivated? I think imagination is inborn. All of us have the capacity to imagine and dream since our childhood. Some of us may lose it by not choosing it. At times, people may be pressured into not choosing their imagination by their education system or the authority figures in their lives. But to begin with, each of us has the capacity to imagine. Imagination can also be cultivated by encouraging freedom of thought and expression among people. Those who feel threatened to express themselves gradually and lose the capacity to imagine. Those who feel safe in their environment can retain their imagination and use it to live life creativity. Question number two. How does imagination help? Imagination is the seed which gives birth to every idea in the universe. The first step towards creating something is imagine it. When one imagines something in a lot of detail with a lot of focus, one tried to find a way to make it manifest. Then the journey towards acquiring knowledge and information begins. This journey brings idea to fruition. Imagination thus helps in inventing and innovating, be it in the field of science and technology or art and literature. Our ability to imagine has helped our species survive for long in spite of not being the strongest, fastest, or stealthiest mammals to walk the earth. Imagination helps us build tools, procedures to speed up our work and protect ourselves. It helps us build constructs to entertain ourselves and create interesting things. Question number three. Which occupation or profession requires the maximum use of imagination? The field of art, in my opinion, requires the maximum use of imagination. Artists try to create something new each day, for which it is a necessity to be able to imagine. Even to create an abstract painting, one needs to have tremendous capacity to imagine. Painters, writers, musicians, and actors all need to tap into their imagination and stay tuned to it throughout their lives, especially while they are working in order to extract the best kind of art from within themselves. Secondly, Scientists also need to use their imagination to invent, innovate, and to solve complex technical problems and glitches.